Hello, welcome back to the Rocks and Chains YouTube channel. My name's Fleur Hastings and today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful weave called Helm Weave. So this is a gorgeous flat weave, as you can see. We can see here it's in two different colours, so we've got the silver plated and the gold coloured jump rings here. So it looks better, I think, when this is in two different colours because you can really see those floating jump rings or those orbiting jump rings that I've got here in the gold. So like I say, this is a flat weave and it's almost like a little sandwich. So you can see that the gold jump rings are sandwiched between those silver jump rings. I'm going to show you a little bit closer just so you can see there. So this weave uses jump rings of a size that I've got in the kit of 6mm inner diameter for the large jump rings, and we've got that in two different colours, and 3.75 on the 1mm wide diameter in the small jump rings, and obviously these two are the silver plated and this is the gold coloured. So in order to make this bracelet, we can see that we've got 150 jump rings. Now this bracelet here measures 8.5 inches long, and I still have this left out of the kit. Okay, so the kit's are for sale on Hochanda TV. Also within the kit you get your practice jump rings. So with your practice jump rings, you can see here, that's what they look like in the bag. You can actually start to make a practice weave or a starter weave. So they come in three different colours. And on the written tutorial that comes in the kit, it will use these colours as well, so you can reference this back to either the written tutorial or this YouTube tutorial. So this is a great starter place because not only now have you had a little practice at the weave, but you can also use this as a starter weave to just carry on weaving from here if you want, or just as a reference. And then what I would do is pop a little piece of tape around here that says Helm Weave on it, just so you know what that weave's called. So in order to make these pieces of chainmail jewellery, what do we need tool-wise? Well, the only things we need are two pairs of chain nose or flat nose pliers. Now these are my preferred chain nose and flat nose. At the minute they are very, very fine tipped chain nose and flat nose. They've got beautiful flat jaws on the inside, and I find them really, really easy to work with. They're very ergonomic in your hand as well. So I've got my chain nose and my flat nose. Okay, so in order to make this weave, I'm going to not work in this size jump ring. I'm going to supersize it up for you so you can see perfectly. So I'll leave that there just so you can see this is what we're going to work to, and I'm going to be using jump rings that are a lot larger so you can see exactly where each piece goes, each jump ring goes. Okay, so within your starter pack, in your practice rings, you'll get a safety pin. It's slightly different to this one, but this was just, again, supersized just so you can see everything. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take two of our small jump rings. Okay, so these are the 3.75 inner diameter jump rings, or the smallest ones that are in the pack. Okay, and we're going to pop two onto the safety pin. Okay, and I'm just going to do that up. So I've now got two jump rings on there, two of the small jump rings there. I'm now going to take two of my large jump rings. Now with the kit it does say that this is the silver jump ring, but if you've got jump rings of your own at home that you're using, this is your main colour, so it's going to be like the silver in here, so it's the predominant colour. Okay, it's not the floating jump rings that are underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and pop one onto there, and I'm going to close that up, and I'm going to take another jump ring and place that through as well and close. Okay, so now I've got two small jump rings, two large jump rings. I'm now going to go ahead and pop on another two small jump rings. Okay, so I'm going to pop that onto, again, the large jump ring. Just open that a little bit wider. Now if you're brand new to chainmail and you don't know how to open and close jump rings, I have got a YouTube tutorial on how to open and close jump rings, and I will pop that in a card above now, and I'll also link it into the description. Okay, So I'm just going to take my jump rings and I'm just going to open those two up and pop them onto the large jump rings again. So now what I have is I have a chain of 2 small jump rings, 2 large jump rings and 2 small jump rings. Okay, now this is where we're going to move to the second colour. Okay, so whichever second colour you're using, you may want to use all the same colour, it's entirely up to you, but in this instance we're using a second colour, so this is going to be the black jump ring, which is now going to be classed as the floating jump ring or the orbiting jump ring. And this jump ring is going to go around these last 2 small jump rings here. If I use my awl just to show you. So it's going to go through around these 2, but it's going to sit in the middle of the 2 gold jump rings that I've just added. So it's going to, if you think of it as a sandwich and these are the 2 pieces of bread, it's going to sit right in the middle. So what I'm going to do is, just holding that nice and still for you, I'm going to pop it in between those 2 gold jump rings, and it's just going to come out the other side. So it's not actually attached to anything, it just sits in between those 2 gold jump rings. Okay, and now you can see that it's going to encapsulate these 2 in the middle, so the small 2 jump rings that are in the middle. Yeah, so is that clear so far? And we're going to close that jump ring up. So now this jump ring is closed and it's sitting within there. So like I say, if you think of it as a sandwich, here's your 2 pieces of bread, the gold are the 2 pieces of bread, and this is your filling. Okay, so if I just lay that down so you can see. Okay, so my next move now is to add 2 more bits of bread, if you like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an open large jump ring, and this is the original colour, so if you're working from the kit this will be the silver colour, and all I'm going to do is go through those small jump rings. So can you see I've not gone near this black jump ring here, all it's doing is going through those small jump rings. And close. And I'm going to turn my work over, so I'll show you what that looks like from that side. So you can see now that it's sitting on top of the black jump ring, but it's not connected to the black jump ring, it's only connected to those 2 red jump rings. I'm going to turn my work over and I'm going to add another slice of bread, or in our case a silver jump ring, to the other side. Again, it's not going anywhere near the black jump ring, it's just going through those 2 small jump rings. And close. Okay, so we can now see that a pattern is starting to form. So we've encapsulated this black jump ring, it's completely orbiting and floating there all by itself. So now what we need to do is we need to seal the end here. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this down. I'm going to take another 2 of my small jump rings and just open that up, and again place it just through the end 2 jump rings. And close, and again take another open jump ring. So these small jump rings are always added in pairs, the same as the bread jump rings, the large top jump rings. It's only the only single jump rings that are added in are these floating jump rings. And again close. So now we're back to where we were at the beginning. So if I just bring those 2 together, okay. So you can now see we're now back to the beginning where we had the 2 red jump rings, small jump rings, and our 2 gold jump rings here. So now it's time to pop another floating jump ring in place. Now this first jump ring may have been a little bit tricky to get in because our jump ring pair was completely flat. Now can we see that it's actually forced a gap there now for the next jump ring to go in. So from now on this should be a lot easier to go in. So all we're going to do is slide it between the 2 gold jump rings, making sure that it's not attached to those small red jump rings and it's not gone through. So things that can happen is it can go through the other side. We don't want it to go through the other side. We can catch the red jump ring, sorry, we don't want that. We just want it to go straight through the middle and be floating there. And again, I close that up and just lay it down so you can see. This jump ring now is completely loose and floating and not attached to anything. Okay, let that focus again. There we go. So now we can go ahead and we can put our next large jump rings to sandwich this jump ring in place. So again, taking one of our original colour jump rings, we're going to go through just the red jump rings, the small jump rings that are there, and close. And then we're going to turn our work over. Now if you get lost and you can't remember which side it is, if you hold it there, can you see that we've got a slice of bread missing here? We've got a loose jump ring, a loose floating jump ring, and you can see from the pattern that's happening here that we haven't got a gold jump ring here to sandwich it in place. So always turn your work over, turn it to the side if you're lost and you can't find what the next move is going to be. So I'm going to just finish this section off here, and I'm going to pop through a large original colour, so like I say, from the kit, that's the silver colour, and close. Okay, and you can see now that is now a repeating pattern, so I would put my 2 small jump rings here and carry on till I've got my length. What I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to show you in the correct size jump rings, because it may be a little bit different how you hold your piece of work and everything. So I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit more just so you can see. So I've got my floating jump ring. So if I look at my pattern now, I can see that I've got 2 red jump rings here, 2 gold jump rings, and I don't have my floating jump ring in place. I'll just let the camera focus on that. There we go. So I'm going to go through and place in my floating jump ring. So just going through the sides, making sure that it doesn't connect to anything, holding the non-dominant hand nice and still. Let me just get that to focus, and closing that jump ring up. We've now got our floating jump ring in place, so I can now go ahead and add my gold jump ring. Come on, focus. There we go. Add my gold jump ring to the 2 small red jump rings, so you can see it's not gone through anything, it's just going through those 2 red jump rings, and close. There we go. Turn my work over, and I can see that I'm missing a gold jump ring from this side. So again, going through with the other gold jump ring, and close. And then to seal that little section off, taking a red jump ring and going through the 2 gold jump rings. And there's one in place. And I'll just pick up the second one and pop that in place as well. And there we go. So you can see I've just added another section now to my work. I'll just lay that down and let the camera focus on it. You can see now that I've added these last, the black jump ring, the 2 gold and the 2 red. So that's another section complete. So what you will do is you'll carry on going until you get your desired length of bracelet that you're looking for. Now this weave looks absolutely gorgeous in bracelets, it looks lovely in rings as well, and in necklaces. So I hope you've enjoyed making your Helm Weave bracelet or necklace, whatever you're doing. If you have any questions, either pop them in the comments box below, or you can email me on info@rocksandchains.com. I hope you've enjoyed this short tutorial. Many thanks.